A duty is a necessity to act out of reverence for the law. A good will is good not because of what it performs or effects, not by its aptness for the attainment of some proposed end, but simply by virtue of the volition that it is good in itself. A good will shines forth like a precious jewel. A human being is not a means to an end, but rather an end in himself. A rational being belongs as a member to the kingdom of ends when, as an end in himself, he makes universal laws according to maxims. A state is better governed which has few laws, and those laws strictly observed. Act according to maxims of a universally legislating member of a merely possible kingdom of ends. Act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. Act only according to that maxim, by which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. Act so that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. All men will admit reason to be a sacred right. All our knowledge begins with the senses, proceeds then to the understanding, and ends with reason. There is nothing higher than reason. All the interest of my reason, speculative as well as practical, combine in the three following questions. 1. What can I know? 2. What ought I to do? 3. What may I hope? All thought must, directly or indirectly, by way of certain characters, relate ultimately to intuitions, and therefore, with us, to sensibility, because in no other way can an object be given to us. Always act so as to treat humanity, whether in your own person or that of anyone else, as an end in itself, and never as a means only. Always recognize that human individuals are ends, and do not use them as mere means to your ends. An action done from duty derives its moral worth, not from the purpose which is to be attained by it, but from the maxim by which it is determined. Art is the beautiful way of doing things. Science is the effective way of doing things. Business is the economic way of doing things. Duty is a form of the good. Duty is an object of the senses. By a lie, a man annihilates his dignity as a man. Dare to know, have the courage to use your own reason. Do not become enamored with the things that you see, but look at the reality that is hidden from you. Enlightenment is man's release from his self-incurred tutelage. Even a nation of demons could form a good society if it followed the rules of morality. Even philosophers will praise war as ennobling mankind, forgetting the Greek who said, "War is bad in that it begets more evil than it kills." Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. Freedom is the alone unoriginated birthright of man, and belongs to him by force of his humanity. From such crooked wood as that which man is made of, nothing straight can be fashioned. Genius is the ability to independently arrive at and understand concepts that would normally have to be taught by another person. Genius is the talent natural endowment, which gives the rule to art. Happiness is not an ideal of reason, but of imagination. Human reason is by nature architectonic. I can never, in any case, make it a universal law of nature that I should lie. I had to limit knowledge to make room for faith. I ought never to act except in such a way that I could also will, that my maxim should become a universal law. In hypothetical imperatives the action is good, only as a means to something else. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. In man, the alone rational animal, there exists the power to act under the idea of laws, that is, under the idea of the necessity of a rule of conduct, and to determine himself accordingly. Ingratitude is the essence of vileness. It is beyond a doubt that all our knowledge begins with experience. It is not the physical evil itself, but the moral evil in it, which really hurts. It is therefore a duty to destroy arguments, which have no other foundation than in the faculty of reason. Justice and power must be brought together, so that whatever is just may be powerful, and whatever is powerful may be just. Law and freedom without force are contradictory. Man is an animal that can make promises. Man is not something to be played with. Man has a dignity of personality, which raises him above all mere animality. Man's greatest concern is to know how he shall properly fill his place in the universe and correctly understand what he must be in order to be a man. Metaphysics is a dark ocean without shores or lighthouse, strewn with many a philosophic wreck. Morality is not properly the doctrine of how we may make ourselves happy, but how we may make ourselves worthy of happiness. Ought implies can. Our intellect does not create the forms of our thought, but only supplies the matter of them. Out of the crooked timber of humanity, no straight thing was ever made. Out of timber so crooked as that from which man is made, nothing entirely straight can be carved. Reason is the origin of morality. Rules for happiness, something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. Science is always by itself, only constrained by the method and object of its procedure, not by its material, which belongs to intuition just as its form belongs to the intellect. Science is organized knowledge, wisdom is organized life. Seek not the favor of the multitude. It is seldom got by honest and lawful means, but seek the testimony of few, and number not voices, but weigh them. So act that your principle of action might safely be made a law for the whole world. Space and time are the framework within which the mind is constrained to construct its experience of reality. Sublimity is the quality of the mind that so enlarges its conceptions of things, however vast, as to accommodate itself to the whole. The death penalty is the right of a nation. If it is publicly and legally administered, then there is no question of any crime. The law for the law's sake. The moral law commands us to aim at the highest good in general, of which every one has a duty to strive for the highest good he can achieve. the more a cultivated reason applies itself with deliberate purpose to the aim of enjoying life and happiness, the further does man get away from true contentment. The only thing that can be called good, without qualification, is a good will. The problem of organizing a system of rational knowledge of nature is not that of trying to dictate to nature how it is to be. The rational being is distinguished from the non-rational by the fact that he conceives his own existence in accordance with the representation of laws. Thoughts without content are empty. Intuitions without concepts are blind. Time and space are forms of intuition. Time is not an empirical concept, for neither coexistence nor succession would be perceived by us if the representation of time did not exist as a foundation a priori. To be is to be perceived. To be truthful, honest in all declarations is, therefore, a sacred and unconditionally commanding law of reason that admits of no expediency whatsoever. Two things fill the mind with ever-increasing wonder and awe. The more often and the more intensely the mind of thought is drawn to them, the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. We are not reached by what we possess, but by what we can do without.